FreeMMOStation.com.
Welcome to FreeMMOStation. I'm Skara, and this is my first look at a game called Skara, The Blade Remains. Yeah, it's similar to, we could say, Panzer, Overgrowth, Archblade, and Ascend Hand of Kull. I'm going to use all those games in this first impression. So Skara is a multiplayer fighting game in development that aims to bring the intricacies of one-on-one combat to a team setting. It has kind of an overall aesthetic that's really similar to Panzer, but with controls and combat that are really just way more melee-oriented than its MOBA counterpart. So far, the game really needs a huge amount of polish, and it needs a lot more content, but that's exactly what they aim to do, and Skara is very much in an early stage of development, so expect some glitches and expect a lack of fluidity or even combos until later down the line so we could do a proper first impressions. But still, after saying that, what we have now, what I'm playing now, what I got to play, it was not really workable as a functioning demo. There was a whole lot of glitching, and it was absolutely broken. It's just a little bit too glitchy, and honestly the gameplay was a little bit too lackluster. There's not enough content really to make much out of it. Unlike Archblade or Ascend Hand of Kull, the players don't have any magic or special abilities to utilize, and unlike Overgrowth, there's a distinct lack of physics, which really would be needed in a melee-only game. However, that's not to say that they won't ever add in more abilities or combos. They might add in a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm just saying right now what I played, there just wasn't much to do other than like 2 combos really and dash attacks. I do like the map designs though, and the game runs really well. It looks really good on the Unreal Engine 4. That has to be mentioned. That's probably one of the bigger selling points about this game, is that it looks really cool. And yeah, it does have a little bit of a comic art style, and I think that's totally fine. They could totally go with that, even though they're going really like down-to-earth gameplay. As long as they keep staying true to themselves, you know, they can have some silly characters, they can have some sort of over-the-top physicality to everything. I mean, that's what Panzer does, and we see that in a couple of other games like Team Fortress 2. So as long as they go for that over-the-topness, but still staying down to earth, it could be really good. They have multiple races in development, and potentially we might have different weapons to use, which would mean different combos, and that could be really exciting combat, especially in a team setting. I would like to see, say, for instance, I would like to see defensive and CC-oriented abilities coming from shield users, so then maybe you could have a tank in your team, and then maybe have spear players be more nimble and a little bit more balanced than, say, a Berserk and Great X player. You really need these different archetypes, and as long as they nail these down, as long as they have these different archetypes, then the game should do just fine, because it is a team-oriented game. There will probably be different game modes, and if they have interesting game modes mixed in with their unique and interesting different maps, then that could be great, because it seems like they're having this really rich and deep story that they're building at the same time as building up the game. So as long as they do all this together, as long as the gameplay follows the story, it could be really awesome. I like what they're aiming for. Honestly, this is my personal favorite niche genre. And my favorite game of all time was the reclusive title Iron Phoenix. It didn't do so well because it was, at the time, one of the first only online games, and it was a team fighting game. People weren't really into that. But however, now there's a lot more games coming out. Like we just saw Panzer coming out, Archblade, Overgrowth, and Ascend Hand of Kull. All these are newer games. And it's in this genre, this battle arena genre. It's not really MOBA, but it's a battle arena. That's really interesting. This game could very well be great. It could very well be great. Now, this is a very early version of the game, and it has a lot of potential, as long as they just keep going for that over-the-top approach to its down-to-earth gameplay. It needs to embrace its comic side, while also maintaining a very physical, melee-oriented game feel. That's very important. A melee-oriented game feel. I'm not saying to add in magic, but adding more exciting combos at least, instead of having me just spam my dash attack, which at the moment is pretty much the only fluid ability outside of like the few preset combos that there are. I do want to mention that there's no jumping. I really want jumping. I really want jumping. Adding jumping into the game would really create for some awesome experiences, especially because of how the map is designed. Jumping would add a lot of depth to the fighting. Maybe have jumping be jumping attacks. You could just totally double the combo system. You could have breakable attacks, unbreakable attacks, have jumping attacks punishable, have them be either really safe. I mean, you could do whatever you want with different weapons and different characters. Just add jumping, please. So momentum is important in Skara. This game is full of punishable combos, pretty much a little bit too full. I would really like to see animation canceling abilities or actions, because a lot of top tier competitive games from, say, Super Smash Bros. To League of Legends have this, and it really adds a lot of depth to and playability with the game. At the moment, most animation canceling really is just from glitching, and any attack that you do will interrupt another attack. So let's add in some new systems. Maybe have jumping attacks be unblockable, or do different things with different weapons and different classes, really, because right now it's just whoever gets hit first. It's just a coin toss. The game looks good, and it seems to be painting a really tasteful backstory. And even though it is a fighting game very heavily based on mobility, it also focuses towards learning different combos. So it is an intricate game. It's not just a one-screen game like most intricate fighting games are. It's a whole arena, but it is really cool that we're gonna have different combos and different team combos. Who knows what wombo combos we can have, but you don't really see that. Like in Panzer, everything is really spammy. In Archblade, you don't have that many combos. You just have a couple of abilities and a basic attack. But in this game, we're gonna have lots of different combos, hopefully, and we're gonna have a lot of intricacies with that. Again, remember, this is a very early build, so what do you want to see in this game? Who knows what could actually be put into the game that has a lot of potential as long as they follow through with it, like I said. I had a little bit of fun with this game. It's a little bit too broken for me to say too much about it, but at least it looks good, and I do kind of like the story aesthetic they're going for. For more first looks on upcoming free-to-play multiplayer games, like and subscribe to FreeMMOStation.com.